I'd like to begin by acknowledging our Algonquin brothers and sisters on whose unceded territory we are standing today. Elders, youth, students, residential school survivors, distinguished guests, fellow panelists, it's an honor to be here to share a little bit about my own story. I'm Joseph Paul Flowers. I come from Happy Valley Goose Bay, Labrador. My father's from Riglet, Nunatsiavut. I also come from Kuujjuaq, Nunavik, and now I'm studying in Montreal. And in about 6 weeks, I'm going to graduate, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I'm going to graduate as the first Inuk from Nunavik with a law degree. So I was in class 2 days ago, and there was a lawyer presenting, and my friend who was in the class knew the lawyer and said, after the class, kind of introduced me to the lawyer, you know, I need to do some networking now that I'm going to be on the job market soon, and said, this is Joey, he used to be a cook. And so the lawyer asked me, you used to be a cook? How do you go from cooking to law? And this is a question I've been getting a lot recently in the last 3.5 years that I've spent at McGill. So the answer that I've developed over the years is that when I started cooking school, I didn't go into it necessarily with the idea that I wanted to be a professional cook. What I wanted to do when I went there was I wanted to learn something that was very practical, something that I could work with every day. And since I eat every day and I feed people as well, I thought that would be something useful to do. So I did that, and I learned how to cook, and I ended up working with some of the best chefs in the city in Montreal, and I learned how to cook really well, and I think my wife is kind of pleased for that. But after practicing cooking for a number of years, I decided that I no longer wanted to pursue that kind of work. So I did a degree in linguistics because I thought to myself, what else can I do that is very practical for me to kind of learn how to deal with something that I work with every day? And since I speak every day and I listen to people every day, linguistics makes sense because I get to study language. And I did that, and I got a degree in it. And linguistics is not studying a language in particular, but studying language, kind of the underlying structures of language and understanding how language works. So because I went and got a degree in linguistics, now I'm better able to understand how language works, and I'm better able to use it as a result. Though I'm still working on my Inuktitut. But I wasn't too satisfied with the jobs that were available as a linguist, so I thought, what's something else that I can do that's really practical, that I deal with every day? So law made sense because I knew that law is around us at all times. We're constantly engaged in legal relationships, whether we know it or not. Right now, this very second, me standing here, I'm engaged in some sort of legal relationship. I'm not aware of which one it is, but I'm married. There's one. And that is a legal relationship, and so on and so forth. So I knew that studying law would be a very practical thing to do. And so that's kind of the answer I gave this guy the other day. And it brought to mind a quote from a musician that I really like to listen to a lot. His name is Pat Metheny. He's a jazz guitarist. And he said that a guy who's an excellent car mechanic is able to see a problem and somehow reconcile his place on earth at that moment with that particular issue and achieve a certain resolution. So car mechanics, cooks, linguists, lawyers, geographers, and everything else that we do, there's always a potential to think about where you are, where you come from, and what you can do with that information. It says in my biography that I have a fellowship with the Gordon Foundation, who I see as a sponsor for this event. I'm doing a research project, or I've done a research project, examining the post-secondary program for Inuit students in Nunavik. I did a study where I interviewed 11 students, and in interviewing 11 students, it was an exciting thing because I got to go into a lot of detail about what these students are doing, and something that, and they're all Nunavik, Nunatsiavut students. So I left those interviews feeling really good because they're also awesome. They're just great people. They're young people who have, they're bright, they have hopes, they have dreams, they have a vision. And that was something that I found very exciting because we're so often told that our, and it's a reality too, we're so often told that our communities are, I don't need to talk about all the details and all the statistics and all that stuff. That'll bore you and you've already heard it. But there is a lot of good stuff happening in our communities, and I really got that sense from when I interviewed these students. But still, of course, part of the reality is that there are many challenges that our students face and that I face as a student myself. I won't get into the details of what those challenges are, and some of them are external from our control, but a lot of them, I think, are unnecessary challenges that exist structurally, institutionally, both within our institutions that serve us and outside of our institutions. So what? I mean, this is interesting stuff, but what are we going to do about it? What I would say, because, I'm sharing my vision of what I see as the next 40 years, I see brilliant young people who are coming up and who are going to, this panel is an example of the brilliance that is available and exists in our communities, and it's exciting. So I would say never underestimate what Inuit youth can do. You should have the highest expectations for us because we can do whatever we want to do, and we will do whatever we want to do. Senator Watt said this morning that we have for a very long time been governed by policies that are foreign to us. And that was one of my speaking notes that I was going to point out. And that's why ITK and the regional Inuit organizations exist, right? I mean, and Jason Anhatak, who's a student who graduated from Columbia University with a master's in education counseling, has said that it's important, and I think more than Jason says, there are more people than Jason who says this, but it's important to recognize those who went before us and made education possible. And our obligation as students is to succeed. ITK and the various regional organizations that we have exist so that we can create our own policies and programs. In order to create our own policies and programs, we need to get educated. Once we're educated, we need to work. Our people want and need certain things, and we've been saying this, we heard in the discussion this morning that we need to be heard, we need to be consulted. The end users of our policies, such as the education system that I studied in my study, also need to be consulted and heard in the way that those programs are delivered. And that's why I did the project I did. So, I came across an interesting quote. One more minute, oh boy. I came across an interesting quote from Tamusi Kumak, who said, "In 1939, I became independent. I had my own kayak, which I used every summer. I had a dog team and a chamutik. I loved hunting in the winter. I remember 1939 well. It seems to me that that year marked the beginning of my happiness. I was able to work and to hunt. I remember clearly that it was that year that I began thinking about my life and my future." And Ulrika Hansen said in an article that she wrote that we are the generation that was born, after the one that was born in igloos and tents, we are the generation that moved away from the nomadic and land-based economy. So now, and I think James Kuptana was talking about this in his time at the podium, now it's a part of what we do in terms of building our kayaks and Khamutiks is gaining diplomas. I have gained happiness and independence through my education, and I know that many other people can as well. I'm past my time, but I had a couple of... Can I go like 1 more minute? Okay, great. It's 22 seconds past my time. Okay, anyway. Rosemary Kuptana and Mary Sillett talked this morning about how education is key. I don't think I have to repeat that, though I just did. And Johnny Peters this morning told us that there are millions of things to do, and we need people to do it. If you have nothing to do, you have to come and do it. So, I'd like to get the students in the room to stand up. All of the students, any student who's in the room, stand up, please. And yeah, you'll notice that I'm standing as well. Now, those who are elders, those who have things that they need done, look at these faces, go to them, and find out what they're doing, and find out a way to put them in a job that you have. Because that is a concrete action that I'd like to see. I'd like to see, we are, and you can stand as long as you want, or we are educated Inuit. We want to do good work for our people. We want to develop policy that affects us, but we have to enter a competitive hiring process to get these jobs. I would ask the organizations to develop strategies to monitor educated Inuit, look at these faces, and to think about your hiring practices in terms of how you're going to make us work for you. Thank you.